Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome to Intro to Modern Competitive Robotics. Thank you guys for coming out. How's everyone's PAX been?
Have you guys spent an ungodly amount of money already? I'm glad I'm not the only one. So welcome to our panel, and we are thankful that you guys have all attended today. This is something that, quite frankly, was a joke to start out with our team that was kind of a funny back burner idea. A few months ago, I was sitting down with my friends, and I'm like, would they take a panel on robotics? And one of my friends went, yeah, probably. That was enough justification for me to sit home that night, write something very quick, and send it in and not think further on it. And when I got the email in, I went, oh, my plan didn't go further than just the application. We got to focus on this now. So we met with our team, we sat down, we created a presentation, and we are so excited to share it with you. My name is Paige.
My name is Nick. I'm one of the lead mentors of FRC 10063.
My name is Sean. I'm team captain.
My name's Amaya. I am captain of outreach.
My name is Benson. I am the business captain, drive coach, and programming, former programming captain because I retired.
And we are going to go begin. Here's the talking stick.
Hi. So, in general, I'm just introducing ourselves. We're Scrap. We're based out of Weymouth High School. SCRAP stands for the Student Community of Robotics and Programming. The school used to have a program before COVID that that died.
The school originally had a program that unfortunately folded due to COVID. So by the time this team came around, it's completely brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And then as well as also we're really proud of, it's been a rookie year. We had some resources from before. I was actually an alumnus of that, and I got kind of dragged in that way. And we're really happy to say we went through our first year. It was really successful. We raised a lot of money. We had a lot of really good connections. We get to do events like these. I mean, a lot of first-year teams get to do things like this, so it's really exciting. And we won at the district level, so there's about 200 teams in New England District. We won the Rookie All-Star Award, which essentially says that we're in a really good place to be sustainable, to not only like maybe build cool robots, but also to share this with the community, which is what we want to kind of do today.
Okay.
So our goal is to create quality robotics through everyone to make sure that they learn sustainable skills such as fabrication, and expand opportunities and access to STEM education to everyone in our community, whether it be in the Massachusetts community, New England, or even across the entire world. And also ignite curiosity and a lasting impression on STEM, which includes this panel today. You're good. So these are each of our students. Please pretend like you didn't introduce yourselves earlier, and please say something fun about yourself.
I'm Sean. I like to go skiing. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Amaya, and one thing I like to do is just be out all day.
Hi.
My name is Benson, and I used to like programming. But like after realizing like, I don't know, I wasn't really motivated, so I just quit. Now I'm a business person, and I never thought I'd be the business captain, but here I am.
So unfortunately, Lee could not be here with us today, but Lee is our graphic designer and helped us create this presentation. So hi, Lee. We love you. We miss you. So we'll also pretend we did not introduce ourselves.
Yeah,
My name is Paige. I'm a university student who's going to be graduating in, I think, about a week. I'm not going to lie. My finals have kind of taken something out of me. I'm a business development mentor. I do everything that doesn't touch the robot, so finance, website development, you name it, I do it.
Yeah, my name is Kearney. I'm a software engineer, now working with the state of Massachusetts on one of their contracts, which sounds really impressive, and I promise you it's really dry. And I'm also I'm now one of the head mentors of this fine group of students. And, you know, we're here, and and the fun fact about me is I've been doing this for probably about 10 years in different forms, some of the different programs you'll see. And it like leads to you making really bad purchases. Like these glasses are safety grade, so if I have some side shields, I can wear them in like pits next to drills and stuff, so.
Cool. I don't have anything fun to say about myself. I like Chipotle. My favorite number is 25.
Yeah.
Cool. Woo! So what is competitive robotics?
Yeah. So what's a robot? Great question. It's surprisingly not a simple answer. Some of you might think of, I'm a Star Wars guy personally, you might think of something like R2-D2, you might think of hitting the right button, you might think of Rob from some Reddit gaming convention, Nintendo's very interesting experiment on sort of like what became Skylanders in a way. And then you also have robots kind of like what we do. And to kind of boil it down, robots could be defined as a lot of things, but the way that we can kind of think of it today is basically mechanical electrical machines or electromechanical machines that operate either autonomously. Now that might mean either like they have pre-programmed instructions, or they might be something more akin to having like human control. So like right here we have a little wooden BattleBot which is a kit that's done with one of the programs we'll talk about today, NHRL, which can be as small as one of these guys. It could be a battery-powered toothbrush that kind of jumps around, which we do for students, and then also something as big as a 250-pound BattleBot that destroys things, has a flamethrower.
No, we do not have a flamethrower on our robot, before someone asks.
They wouldn't let us in.
Yeah. So, what is modern competitive robotics? Now, trying to get that very vague definition out of the way. Modern competitive robotics is essentially a sport, something that would be equivalent to chess and whatnot. So teams actually go out and build these giant robots or small robots to go and compete in games. So there's about over 100 different programs globally that do robotics, but specifically there's over I like to say about 20,000 teams that exist beyond from grades K through whatever. So it could be collegiate, it could be normal stuff if you're not even a part of anything, or you could be during school. And the best thing about this program is that anyone can go pro. Anyone can become an engineer or can become a computer scientist or a marketer, any applicable skill for the workforce, you can learn it within robotics, which we will get into momentarily. So robotics is really interesting, and yes, I don't know if you could tell, this is a special interest of mine. Competitive robotics has actually a really rich history that I will unfortunately not be going through all of it today, but I will get through the basics of it. So at the beginning, there was nothing. The iPhone was not built in a day. We can't really track the original history of robotics, but what we can tell you is that it originally started in universities and as hobbyists with some stuff. Some reports have BattleBots even dating back to the 70s and the 80s. But what we can confirm is a micro-mouse competition that happened at the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers group. So basically, there are these little baby robots that would be autonomously coded. So you would pre-program and pre-wire it to do whatever you need to go and solve a race. So it was kind of broad, and there wasn't really a lot to be done with it. I mean, it was, for as much as technology were in the 70s, it was pretty cool. Until a guy named Woody Flowers appeared. Woody Flowers is the father of educational robotics. He was a MIT professor and served, I think, in the Army, if I remember correctly. He became an MIT professor about in the 1970s, where he took over the Introduction to Engineering course, or Course 270, where at the start of your class, he would come in at the beginning of the year and would hand you a box full of random garbage, quite frankly, and would tell you that you had the entire semester to build a robot, and your final was going to be a robotics competition that you would compete in for your grade. So not stressful at all. I would have opted to take a final at that point. But he was able to take each class and go, hey, this is how you wire a electronics board, this is how you organize your wires, this is how you code, this is how you fabricate custom parts. It got to the point it was so popular that people would line up around the MIT campus for course registration day just to get into this class. There were about 300 teams, which if you average about 3 people on per team, it got to be really big really quickly. So eventually he went to go and found FIRST, which we will talk about in a bit, with Dean Kamen, the inventor of the insulin pump and the Segway, if anyone remembers that from the 90s. And he also coined a few terms, mainly gracious professionalism. So FIRST is actually the program that he founded, and this is the program that we participate in. And FIRST has some amazing benefits for anyone that wants to go into it. So 95% of FIRST participants find that the skills that they learn in the program are useful, whether it be technical or non-technical. And over 80% of FIRST alumni declare interest in their major and in their skill that they like, so science, engineering. And for the parents out in the audience who may have children who are going into high school, or if you are a high schooler yourself, there's over $80 million of scholarships just plainly available for people in the program to just go and apply for, especially with other universities like WPI. So this is a quick little clip of the arms race at MIT. You don't need to play the audio with it, but essentially, this was the 1991 competition at MIT where they were trying to hit the square in the middle and to try and kind of play air hockey. The rule book is now lost to time, and I am unfortunately not brushed up on my knowledge, but they would have to put these robots in the middle, and this would be their final. So this was actually a pretty exciting thing for MIT, and it was, honest to God, I wish MIT still kind of did. So the robots seem kind of rudimentary in comparison to what we have on stage today. So let's talk about FIRST. So FIRST is an official nonprofit organization built in 1989 by Dean Kamen and Woody Flowers to target pre-K through grade 12 to interest them with interest them in robotics. Dean Kamen noted that with FIRST, he wanted to create something that would create engineers and other celebrities in the program, much like football would. So while focusing on STEM and teamwork and innovation and gracious professionalism, which is kindness to others even in the face of competition, it had grown exponentially to the point where now there's over 15 countries for this one program alone to participate in. At the World Championships this year, I got to talk with a few teams from France and Korea and Japan, and it's honestly really awesome. Not to mention there's over 200 here in New England. So I want to go in quickly and mention that there are two kinds of competitive robotics, educational and competitive itself. These labels are not conflicting of one another. One program can be both, except maybe with their intentions it could be different. So with FIRST, they intend to be educational and competitive. With some others, like FIRST Lego League, which we'll get into, it's more educational in the sense that you want to teach about basic robotic skills. However, there are some that are plainly competitive, which there is a big elephant in the room. Hi, BattleBots. No, we're not BattleBots. Competitive robotics is really interesting because it's like the show, they officially call it combat robotics. So teams have to create an RC-controlled robot designed to fit within an arena of their choice. There are different weight classes that, quite frankly, we won't get into today, but their whole goal is to destroy. So BattleBots and Robot Wars, I don't know if anyone remembers Robot Wars from the 90s. Oh, wow.
Oh, we got some Robot Wars representation.
Really? Anytime I mention Robot Wars, there's like absolutely, they're like, what is that? You mean Comedy Central? That is BattleBots. But essentially, it's to try and create creativity, engineering, and competition. Nowadays, combat robotics is a lot more sillier and fun for those who have gone to Norwalk Havoc. So what can you learn from this competition? Hi, students. You guys have been in this program for quite a bit, so what can you learn about?
All right, so robotics actually provides many benefits, and that's not something we're saying because we're biased, of course, because robotics is actually a uniquely designed sport that is intended to teach students skills beyond just a single certain skill. And so at its core, robotics is designed to teach students real workforce skills and also teach them time management, but let's be honest, no one's really keeping track of that. So robotics, of course, teaches essential technical skills, particularly for the STEM-related industries, and this includes fabrication, welding, computer science, and basic problem-solving skills. However, every robotic team is like managing a small business where there are several moving parts to get the machine working, essentially, practically in both senses, as business is a core factor to our team. So from sponsorship, outreach, to budgeting and marketing, students are getting firsthand experience in entrepreneurship and communications, which are the same skills that professionals use today, especially in regards to public project management, public relations, and nonprofit works. So with this, our team uses actual marketing and communication tools to manage our progress, both in and without like the workshop. And let's also not forget that leadership is also crucial when it comes to the real world situations. So with this, our students run meetings, delegate responsibilities, solve interpersonal challenges, as well as coordinate timelines. So these aren't just classroom situations, but rather real-world situations that help them prepare for college, their careers, and ultimately their future life as a whole. And in short, robotics isn't really mainly just about building the robots itself. It's really about building the individual people who can be capable, curious, and confident problem solvers who can collaborate and think critically. And hey, if you pick up a few cool welding tricks or get to know like how to use a torque wrench along the way, that's essentially a bonus.
You make it sound like that the robot is only half the fun.
He's biased. No.
Unretired.
You want this slide right now?
Here, I can take it. So as alumni of the program, me and Nick, there's a lot of stuff that we've learned that we can take away from the workforce. Nick, you have a lot more of applicable experience with it.
I certainly do. I've worked a lot of like jobs which deal a lot with the medical industry personally in my very limited career. The biggest thing I've taken away from this experience, which honestly I could go on forever, but I won't because they have many notes in this panel that says, Nick, don't ramble. So I'll try to keep it short. But what you realize is how to take risks and how to stay safe. How do you keep yourself out of analysis paralysis? When you're working software, you might be able to get away with kind of trying something and just seeing what happens. If I try something with one of the students and we see what happens, we might snap an arm in half. So a lot of what you learn, a lot of what I've learned personally is kind of learning where can you kind of take risks, where do you tell a student, maybe let's try that a little bit, and where I say, no, just try it, just see what happens, and they look at you like you're being irresponsible, and you probably are, but I'm not on the business team, so it's okay.
Oh, meanwhile, from the business team, I got into the program to try and learn about a lot of technical skills, but I realized that it wasn't really my thing, quite frankly. So I decided to get more into the nonprofit side, which really helped me with my skills of trying to inspire other people who may be going into STEM and whatnot. I'm not really good with all the technology, I'm not really good with programming, but I am good at teaching kids who think that might be their thing to go and pursue that, at least in my own opinion.
So with working on the robot, I've learned a lot about Linux, computer networking, and just general wiring, which can be useful for me in the future.
Yeah, so as for me, delving into robotics influenced my outlook on various aspects of my life, particularly in the case of communication. So from being exposed to robotics throughout my high school career, I've recognized that being able to communicate with many various people around the world within the team and across even opponents who are facing against my team within the competition is crucial because being able to communicate really allows for success, the likelihood for success to really happen. And so with this, I understand that being able to express my ideas, articulate my ideas to various people has allowed me to create effective gameplay and strategies, which ultimately results in my success within the competitions. And also, besides communication, I've also learned technical skills such as programming, even though, as I mentioned before, I don't like programming anymore. Yeah, I managed to learn a few things from being part of this team, and all in all, I've been really grateful for being part of this, because acknowledging this, especially sometime in my future, when I go to college, I'll be able to utilize these skills as I start to go into my professional career.
Some natural skills I learned was just like leadership, communication, which brought me into outreach, because doing outreach got me to talk to different teams, different countries, got me to help out others, which goes...
It's the down button.
Sorry.
Instead of left or right, it's down or up. We made a good purchase.
Which got me into the being captain of outreach, because we got to talk to 6 different countries, and we got to help them out with like their team, what's going to be like at competition, and just like what it's going to be like generally of like what to do next, fundraising, branding, and stuff that like will help them in the future be better in a team.
So first, our program has a bunch of cool alumni that used to be in the program and went through it. So Emma Dumont, she's an actor. She does a lot of...
No, you're good. Speak your truth.
Priscilla Chan, so she is from, she's an alumni of the team in Quincy, Mass, Hyper, and she's Mark Zuckerberg's wife. And Dylan Field, he's the co-founder of Figma, which we use.
Software that we use quite frequently, so if there's any Figma users out there, you are represented on this panel. There's also a bunch of celebrity advocates for the program, will.i.am being one of the most famous. He's been in the program since 2011, advocating, going to a bunch of different events. There's also Mark Rober, who I don't know if any people here know, but I'm assuming by the amount of people who are interested in robotics, yeah, there's a bunch of people who watch him frequently. He actually was at the World Championships. I met him last year. He's a pretty cool guy. And he even won the Founders Award. Morgan Freeman, I don't know if you guys know him. He's kind of an obscure indie actor.
Yeah.
And also Grant Imahara, may he rest in peace. He's one of the former cast members of Mythbusters and also was very popular on the BattleBots show and was a mentor for FIRST Robotics. So how can you get involved? So first of all, why should you even get involved?
One way to get involved is just watching the games. Like going to one of the competitions and just watching it. It's like one of the best ways to get involved. Because there's a lot of teams over here going into competition where you can just see what's going on first. There's a lot of different themes that go on in competition. Every year something new. And some of the things that we have going on is like Norfolk Havoc Robotics, which comes with Combat Robotics League and Norfolk...
Maya, go down one.
Go down one? Oh. What?
Go down a slide.
Oh.
There you go.
Oops, sorry. That's you and Benson.
Okay. So, yeah, as Amaya mentioned, being able to spectate robotics competitions allows first-hand experience to see the thrill of the competition itself, and from this, it will allow you to understand the possibilities that may arise from it, whether it'll be possibilities that are open to you or to people of future generations, because in the future, we really need engineers to further progress our society, and it is very important for us to expose the younger generation to robotics and get them involved, so to set them up for their career in the future. Yeah, and not only that, you'll also be able to meet a community full of passionate individuals on robotics, and this way you can communicate with them and connect and have them connect you to real-world careers that may be very useful to them, to you in the future.
So there's many ways, and spectating is honestly the most low-cost option to go and try and get involved and see if it's kind of your thing. We recommend Norwalk Havoc Robotics League. That's BattleBots, pretty much. It's the 3-pound, 12-pound, and 30-pound robots that go and fight each other. And if you're a Massachusetts native, there's also mass destruction that happens during the fall and the summer. It's the same thing as Norwalk Havoc. So if you're interested in getting involved, there are 3 events that we highly recommend. BattleBots, you'd want to go to Norwalk Havoc down in Norwalk, Connecticut. They have all the fights going on with the cages, and it's pretty much shot like the show. If any of you guys watch ESPN and also are sports fans, they are frequently on ESPN too. Though if you are interested in getting involved in educational robotics specifically, there is Massachusetts States, which is going to be happening at the end of this month, where a bunch of the best teams from Massachusetts are going to be going at it with our game this year. And then there's also the Husky Robotics Invitational, which is for the program under us, which we'll talk a little more about later. There'll be about 20 teams at a Yukon campus that will be playing. And there's going to be teams from all over the world there. It's actually pretty exciting. So there's many ways to get involved. For those who want to get involved in educational robotics specifically, I recommend contacting your program delivery partner, which is a fancy title for saying the person in charge. You're going to want to contact them and be like, hey, I'm interested in joining a team. What's in my area? Each program that we'll cover has a different title of it that you would have to go and email, which I would recommend doing the info email that they have. There's also a bunch of summer robotics camps in the area, especially down in Littleton, where they work on workshops and whatnot. Or you could start your own team. That takes the most work, quite frankly, and also takes the most money. But I highly recommend it if you are really interested in trying to get involved and trying to get a bunch of people into it, and also knowing your age league. If you are not in educational robotics, you also can do BattleBots. You can sit at home, spend about $500, make a good robot, and go and compete at these events. Just make sure you read their rules before you go to make sure you are within compliance. For the people in here who may not be interested in educational robotics or may not be within the age range but still want to help, you can do many things, including mentoring and volunteering. Volunteering your own personal time to go and meet with a team, learn with the students, and also be like, hey, I know coding, this is how I can code. Oh, I know engineering, this is how I can engineer. There are both technical and non-technical roles needed in almost every single team in the entire planet ever. So reach out to your local team and see if this is something that you're interested in. And if not, if you want something also really low cost but you still want to go and watch, volunteering is a really important thing. Our program is 100% powered by volunteers. No one is really paid to go to these events and actually go and fill these roles. So you're going to want to go in and be like, hey, you know, I'm interested in doing this, and they might put you on some stuff, but we really need judges and refs and whatnot. So for those who are in the different programs, there are many different age leagues. So there's FIRST Lego League, there's VEX, there's FIRST Robotics, there's Ball, which I learned very recently about like 2 or 3 months ago, which honestly is pretty sick. But if you are 18 plus, there's Formula SAE, there's Normal Combat Robotics, and there's IEEE chapters, RoboMaster, and VEX U. Though if you want our personal recommendations, we recommend staying within the FIRST program.
Yeah, so the first thing we actually recommend is the FIRST Lego League, which is essentially the program where a lot of children get their first taste of robotics, and quite frankly, it's awesome. And with this league, it's divided by age groups, 3 divisions in particular. Discover for our littlest engineers, Explore for our early learners, and Challenge for upper elementary, middle school students. So within these challenges, students use LEGO robotic kits to solve themed missions on a game field, but essentially it's not about just building these robots. Teams also just identify real-world issues within their games and design a solution revolving that particular idea. So, for example, some themes may revolve around improving water systems, and others may involve critical thinking to transform transportation to improve its quality. And so the goal of these programs is to teach children on how they can identify issues within their society and work towards and collaborate to solve these issues that persist within their surroundings. And most importantly, the FIRST LEGO League is actually built on core values, as I mentioned prior, like teamwork, inclusion, and fun. And so with this, it just makes it a perfect entry point to STEM engineering for the younger generation.
FIRST Tech Challenges, it's FTC for short, is the best base tech skills in the build in real work skills, fundraising, branding, community outreach, and based on cost-effective in the middle and high school, the documenting their entire process. It's a truly and full circle experience for in STEM leadership and business. Students run the show and mentors are the guide and support. It's perfect bridge between Legos, robotics, and high-level engineering.
So the FIRST Robotics Competition, or FRC, is what we compete in with the big 125-pound, roughly, robot. And we do more than just building the big robot. We do the business, the outreach,
I got it. Yeah, FRC is called the Varsity Sport of the Mind. It is built specifically to try and teach kids about real-world experiences, so by the time they go off to college, they are already experienced in everything that they want to do. And teams are also uniquely a small business. They have to go and fundraise every year. Our registration alone is $6,000, so it takes a whole village to go and try. And that's registration alone, by the way. That doesn't include building the robot and everything that is involved with it. The actual way that our robot drives, each one of those modules is about, I think, what, $300 each? Yeah, it's pretty expensive, but you get a lot of good skills out of it. A lot of our students got to learn how to weld this year, so that was pretty awesome. And there's also combat robotics.
Yeah, so we obviously, for at least for ourselves, we focus on a lot of, like, we are mentors. We mostly mentor students and to teach them skills. But we also want to acknowledge that there is another side of this. That's probably the side you're a bit more familiar with, which is combat robotics. They are designing and building robots in large enclosed areas. You're talking polycarbonate walls where you can go to these events and you can watch a piece of robot basically get shot right at you and it hits right off. Some of these things use flamethrowers, jet fuel. They are really crazy smoke machines, which recently got banned in NHRL. I saw that. I saw the incident that caused that. That's quite fun. Comes with a wide range of weight classes, which means it also comes in a wide range of price points. And it teaches you to think about failure. You think about strategy. You're thinking about, like, how do I iterate quickly for those smaller robots? Because you might be able to, if you have the time and resources and the craziness that a lot of us have, you can rebuild a whole robot in that amount of time. So that's really cool about it. It's something unique. Don't know anything? Well, don't worry. The fact is you'll learn as you go. And one of the best parts about robotics, and especially these leagues, is that it is a group of passionate people who are here to help you. There's not as much ego as there is, and that's not to say that it's a perfect system, but there's a lot of play people who are out there genuinely trying to help you. We're not the only team that does panels like these. There's a lot of teams that do panels like these. There's a lot of groups that try to do fundraising. If they have parts that maybe they've upgraded from, they'll donate it out. That's actually how we afforded a lot of the motors on that robot. Pretty much every single one was a donation from other teams.
Shout out to our sponsors, by the way. Thank you for donating money.
Yes, and we won't list them. There's quite a few. Or other teams who have helped us out along the way. And the fact is there's a lot of teams and volunteers who help us with this. We actually have a couple of our mentors up here, and I know there's some other mentors from other teams too. So I want to give a quick hand to them. Particularly, I'm going to point to the two gentlemen in pink right here who have helped us out. They're two of our mentors, Cam and Davis, and this event would not be possible without them.
We love you guys.
So, yes, the fact is that everyone has a place. You can hate programming, as you find out, all right? Tell me about it all the time. Sometimes force them to do it. And then also find a place, and the fact is that you're able to be an important part of the team that I can then actually go and teach students how to program in these really cool roles. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you want to get involved, don't use knowledge as a reason not to. There are people out there that can teach you to design, to wire, to program, and chances are there's probably people out there who have different skill sets than you that might need your unique skills to succeed. So that's really the coolest part of this, and I recommend, if you don't know anything, try it. You don't know what you'll get. The answer is always no unless you ask.
So I think we yapped a lot. We yapped too long. You know, we're talking about all this robot stuff, and you know, it's not really as cool unless we get to demo it. So why don't we turn on the robot and let's get this thing going?
Yeah.
So before we begin, if you guys ever want to learn more and maybe want to start your own league or start your own program, or maybe about BattleBots, or tell us what your favorite snack is, don't email unless you have another question, please. I don't want to get like 50 emails in my inbox. But if you are very interested in learning, our email is going to be right there. You can also find us on our social media as FRC163. That's our actual number. Go in, send us a message on either both email or on our social media, and we will get back to you with more information, and we would love to help start a league with you.
Yeah.
Ready? Yep. So we're going to switch over.
So we're going to have some of the students kind of show off some of the basic functions of our robot. I'm just going to have you go, and I'm going to try and keep up with you, okay? Because that's more fun for everybody involved. Sound good?
Check 1, 2. All right, awesome. Hello, everyone. I am now standing up. Yes, surprise. We can actually move from these chairs. So we are going to have the students now break off into going into their own robot. So if you guys have any Q&A, I would like you guys to raise your hand, and I can come over with the microphone, and we can talk. And there's also a microphone somewhere over here. Yeah, over there. So just go up, talk. We'll answer your questions as much as we can. Otherwise, I'm just going to start yapping as much as can.
First, let them demo.
Yeah. So let's demo. Ready?
Yeah. So this right here is our elevator mechanism. We'll show off a bit of the game in the near future. And that's us launching PVC pipe in a very safe way and away from all the valuable electronics. Thank you, Amaya. This year's game, the cool thing about FIRST in particular is that every single year it's a different game. So this is kind of an overview of the field. It has 2 pieces, which you'll probably be able to see better in better photos, which basically is a reef. The theme was water game. For those who are in the program for a long time, that means a lot more. Where basically we'll try to grab PVC from these different stations, bring them up, elevate it nice and high or nice and low, and then shoot it out in a nice, safe way towards plastic.
Man, that's really loud.
It very much is. There's also another piece of it which dealt with something they called algae, which dealt with these basically big dodgeballs that you would get pelted in the face, and you can still feel what I'm talking about right now from back when you were in school, which you'll be able to bring up and kind of shoot into these nets and all that sort of thing. And then you have alliances of 3 robots kind of driving around. They're throwing PVC, they're dropping giant dodgeballs, and it's really crazy and things like that. So. And then another piece of our robot, which I'd like to highlight, is the drivetrain that a lot of our students particularly worked on.
That's the frame of the robot that makes it move.
So you see the wheels there. This is an omnidirectional drive base, which is really cool. So unlike your car, where if you get stuck in a bad turn, and maybe you're in the streets of Boston, I don't know, and you're trying to park, and this one guy in front of you is just 3 inches too far back, and the other guy is 6 inches too far front, this robot wouldn't have that issue. At a drop of any basically moving a joystick, it can move in any direction smoothly. It costs a lot of money to do that. We mentioned like these modules right here for each of those corners is $365, not including the 2 motors that it takes to run them. It uses calculus, which some of our programmers, Benson, who has worked on it somewhat, and one of the other programs work on, and then is wired and mechanically put together. So it's very expensive, it's very difficult, and it requires a lot that most high school students honestly don't get to know, so that's pretty cool.
So I'd also like to note that we are big fans of video games and everything alike. I mean, that's why we're here at PAX East. So we don't believe in normal drivetrain controls. Most people usually use a PlayStation or an Xbox controller to drive their robot around, which makes sense, right? I mean, you're all used to those controls by now. Not us. We don't like that. Instead, we have decided that we are going to power the robot with GameCube? Is it GameCube?
Yeah, it's a Donkey Konga beat. It's from the early 2000s. Yeah!
Benson, stand up.
Best $15 ever spent.
But you know, that wasn't enough, right? I mean, it's pretty cool, but that's not enough, right? So we decided that instead we were going to have a Dance Dance Revolution pad.
We'll show this one. We're not going to run it just because we don't want to run it right this second. This right here is a mat from the 2006 or 2007 game. It's called Outdoor Adventure, which you play inside on a Wii, tethered to the Wii, which my parents used to trick me into exercising despite doing martial arts and occasionally parkour.
Did it work?
And skiing.
Did it work?
I guess, but like I did more exercise anyways. I don't really get what the point was. But it's a really cool, flexible DDR mat compared to like some of the awesome ones we have in the convention, which are like a couple 100 pounds and take forever to load. So
yeah.
We also can drive with this thing right here, which we use for demo purposes.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were not going to be using it today due to safety, and also I think we're having some programming issues, if that's not a relatable issue at all. Yeah, so by the way, if you guys have any other funky game controls that may be broken and or destroyed and you don't want them anymore, please email us.
We'd like them.
We'd love them. We're trying to rewire as many as possible so that we can bring them to competitions and conventions alike. Are there any questions, or should we just keep rambling? Yeah, here, what's going on? What's on your mind?
So going from your first robot build ever, kind of like as a question for a timeline, first build to most recent builds, how do you know how much time you should spend on something before you maybe move on, or how much faster do you get with future builds, or more ambitious, I should say?
Okay, so that's an interesting question because some seasons are really different, but for ours, we only have about 8 weeks from our original game to then build, design, program, you name it, we do it, a robot. So usually we try and take about 1 or 2 weeks with prototyping and we're trying to anticipate everything of what could be possible. And of course, everything is now open source and online, so we just we go on like, oh, what's this team doing, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, they're doing this or that. And we try and take inspiration from them. But eventually there is a point where we have to say, okay, enough's enough, and we have to cut the idea. Unfortunately, we didn't learn that this year.
I'd like to, can you bring that over to our mechanical mentor? So I'm going to put you on the spot. Cam, I want you to tell me, in terms of the plan and what we had as the 2 technically inclined mentors on the team, and also, Sean, if you want to comment as well, how'd that timeline go for us this year?
I'd like to plead the 5th on that.
You sure?
Absolutely 100% positive. I would like to plead the fifth on that. That plan went out the window 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
We had an idea, we had a game plan, and then that went out the door. I think 12 hours into our season.
And that went out the plan when Sean started pushing for Swerve.
Yes, we have our student here our team captain push for us to do these omnidirectional drives, which are becoming more popular. And it definitely took us some time to get adjusted to it, but the fact is, once it happened, like, it boosts our competitive performance. They don't like to brag, so I will. These guys performed really well. They performed right around like halfway in the district, which, while there are some like benefits to rookies and things like that, that's a really huge accomplishment for a first-year team. We played some really close matches. A lot of our matches were really, very close. We had a great drive team. We had a great robot, and a very selfish, really cool brag as someone who's done this for a while. When we had issues with the robot, they tended to be things we had just put together. We didn't like put together a mechanism, troubleshoot it, and then have to go back 10 times. These guys really did a great job in putting together things that kept working. Or if they weren't going to, they were built-in points of failures, like the paracord here, that would kind of like slowly tear over time, that we could proactively change it. So that's something I'm really proud of these guys for doing.
Thankfully, our design is simple enough that we could just go back and reiterate and make it work again. We thankfully didn't get too far into the weeds of trying to do everything, but there were many times this season where we went a little too farther on the idea, and it was too much, and we were like, oh no, like we can't back out of this now. Are there any other questions, or? Cool. So I also wanted to show off the BattleBot here. So obviously we're talking a lot about first, educational. I mean, yeah, this is educational, but this is also kind of cool. So for legal purposes, this is not metal, and this can't hurt anybody, so I can just hold this up and be fine with it. But it is a wooden BattleBot, courtesy of Norwalk Havoc Robotics League. Thank you. So it is a RC-controlled power robot. I don't have the control for it, but it is powered by batteries, and this is what generally a lot of competitive BattleBots look like. Most leagues are about 1 pound to 3 pounds. There are metal leagues where you can actually use metal and all other sources, and there's actual plastic BattleBots as well. Those are usually the most simple to make, because as you can just plop them into a 3D printer, make them, and then you can make spares and go to competitions with them. So there are a bunch of options available to you that you can just do. So I highly recommend, if you want to get into BattleBots, do it. You're not going to be able to do the 250-pounders that you see on the show, which are really cool, by the way, but you can make them really small and just go to your local league. There's even a bunch of stuff on Thingiverse, shameless plug there, that have a bunch of models that you can go up, make them, and then see if they work or not. You're going to also probably need a bunch of motors and whatnot, so make sure that you get your bill of materials for that.
And I think also a cool skill I'd like to highlight as well, which our students have experience with, is you'll notice there's a lot of pink on this robot. Some of that's spray paint done by some of our mechanical students who also do metal fabrication. There's actually a lot of welding on this robot, which is pretty cool. But there's also a lot of 3D printed parts, many of which are designed by the people you see up here on the stage, and really allows you to do a lot of really cool things, either designed or printed by us. Our students have spent a lot of time working with 3D printers and working on parts that allow us to solve specific problems. I know we can't really see this, and I'm not necessarily wanting to turn the robot, but some of the motor controllers are like mounted onto the motors with custom parts off to the side here, though it's covered by the sponsor panel.
Yeah. So I think that's all we really wanted to say about the robot. We're going to turn off communications if possible. If you guys want to come up close and talk with us more personally about robotics and whatnot, or even just seeing the robot up close and personal and seeing the wiring schematics, please feel free to. But I think that is all we have to say, unless you guys have anything funny to say, or your Chipotle order.
I think I'm going to the Chipotle order, but I want to say for all of you guys who did come out and things like that, first of all, thank you all for coming out. We had no idea. We have no idea what kind of crowd we're going to draw, like, doing this. It's kind of a, it was like, oh, okay, haha, we're going to go do a PAX panel. That sounds really awesome. You have no idea how many people show up and things like that. So I see actually a really solid turnout here, so that's really awesome. So first of all, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for coming and listening. I want to give a huge round of applause. They're going to hate me for it. For the students who are being very brave, and public speaking is not an easy thing for them, so I want to give them a huge shout out for that. Thank you for all the work you put in this season, and especially for this presentation. I know this was kind of a scary thing, and especially when I just randomly messaged you guys on a random Friday night. Hey guys, what are you doing May 11th? What do you mean it's Mother's Day? Yeah, that one got realized really late in the process. But
Sorry.
we made it. Yeah, so some of them have to go home soon and go do that, which is important. Take care of your mothers, guys. Mothers are important. And also we want to thank a lot of the PAX people who've been super kind, who wanted to even if they just wanted to see the really cool 125-pound robot, for really being accommodating and working with us, because this is not an easy thing for us to pull off, and certainly not for a very small starting up high school team. So thank you to the organizers as well. We couldn't do this without you as well.
And our AV crew, thank you so much for everything you've done, especially with us in our tech check earlier this morning.
Yeah.
Cool. And I think that's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Cool. Please come up. Please see the robot. It's not like we spent over like $7,000 to try and get this thing to work.
We would love to chat with you on a personal level.